All right, so 2.4a, it's currently 11:45. I'm in a bit of a rush. So, Ms. Rubenstein, this is my proof that if this video is under 15 minutes, I finished the assignment before 12 a.m. on the due date. It's just I didn't upload it, okay? So, 2.4a, the aims, membership, and structure of the league. So, Wilson supported creating an international organization to prevent future wars. His call for a general association of nations helped lay the function for the League of Nations. Global anti-war sentiment grew because of outcomes of World War I. Key political figures from Britain, France, Belgium, South Africa, they promoted plans for a global body to resolve disputes. Wilson and Bourgeois received Nobel Peace Prize for contributions in creating League of Nations. He led the commission at the Paris Peace Conference, Wilson, that drafted the League of Nations Covenant. Delegates agreed on creating League of Nations, but disagreed on how it should be structured. The League was officially established on June 8th of 1919 as part of the Treaty of Versailles. Wilson insisted the Covenant be included in all peace treaties and travel to the U.S. to promote it despite poor health. Three main aims of the League were preventing wars, managing post-war settlements, and promoting global cooperation. So, preventing future war. The League sought to stop future wars by reducing weapons, ending secret agreements, and settling disputes peacefully. Members had to register treaties and accept the League's judgment in conflicts. Countries would work together to punish aggressors through sanctions or joint military action. Administering the post-war settlements, the League enforced post-World War I peace terms. They held plebiscites like the Saar vote to return to Germany. They managed former colonies as mandates. Mandatory powers reported to a League commission. Now, promoting international cooperation. The League worked to improve relations and quality of life worldwide. They created the International Labour Organization, the ILO, to improve working conditions. This helped prisoners of war, refugees, and provided loans to new countries. They supported education and public health efforts. So now the structure. League's main bodies were the General Assembly and the Council, supported by the Secretariat and the Permanent Court of International Justice. This included commissions and committees to handle specific problems. Now, the General Assembly, they met yearly in Geneva, chosen for Swiss neutrality and peace symbolism. Each member had up to 3 delegates, but only 1 vote. They handled general policy, new members, and finances. The Council. It settled political disputes and met regularly, and decisions had to be unanimous. This included permanent and non-permanent members. Non-permanent were selected by the Assembly, increasing from 4 to 11 over time. Now, the Secretariat, they handled daily administrative work. They were located in Geneva and led by a Secretary General. First Secretary General was Eric Drummond. Now, the Permanent Court of International Justice, based at The Hague in Netherlands, meant to deal with legal disputes between states. Now, the commissions and committees handles issues like mandates, refugees, slavery, labor health, disarmament, and women's rights. They achieved success such as helping prisoners of war, aiding refugees, fighting diseases, freeing slaves, and stopping illegal drug trade. Now, 2.4b. The collective security and the League's involvement in the resolution of disputes. Successes. The League used collective security, where all members would act together against aggressors. Council decided member contributions for enforcement. Disputes were referred to the League for review and resolution. Economic sanctions and military threats were used against the aggressors. Collective security helped resolve political disputes in 1920s. Now, Teschen in 1920. Area disputed by Poland and Czechoslovakia because of coal-rich land. The League arbitrated and split the region between the two countries in 1920. This ended the conflict. Now, the Åland Islands of 1921. Most of the population was Swedish, so they wanted to be Sweden, but islands belonged to Finland. So the League decided the islands would remain with Finland. Sweden's response criticized the League for ignoring justice, self-determination, and international law. The League's decision was based on careful consideration and aimed to maintain peace while protecting Swedish culture. Sweden was upset, but formally they accepted it. Now, Upper Silesia, 1921. The region was contested by Germany and Poland, causing riots from 1919 to 21. The League divided the region between the two countries, and the decision was accepted by both countries and Upper Sicilians. The Yugoslavia-Albania border dispute of 1921. The Yugoslavian troops invaded Albanian territory over disputes in 1921. The League sent a commission of Britain, France, Italy, and Japan to investigate. The League ruled in favor of Albania, forcing Yugoslavia to withdraw despite complaints. Now, Memel of 1923. Yo, I remember doing this in class. Memel, we would go up to the board and you have to describe it. But if you had the same answers as someone next to you, you get an F. Alright, so Memel 1923. This region was under League control after World War I, but Lithuania invaded it in 23. The League ruled that Lithuania could have the surrounding area, but Memel City remained an international zone. The decision prevented violence, but yet again, it drew criticism for appearing to reward aggression. Now, Mosul, 1924. It was rich in soil. Part of Mosul became part of British-mandated Iraq after World War I. Turkey claimed it should return to them, so the League ruled in favor of Iraq, and Turkey accepted the decision after agreement with Britain. The Greece-Bulgaria border dispute of 1925. Greece invaded Bulgaria over a border dispute, and Bulgaria resisted minimally. Bulgaria relied primarily on the League to resolve the conflict peacefully. The League condemned Greece. Greece demanded withdrawal and compensation, which Greece accepted. So, now 2.4c, a short one finally. The collective security and the League's involvement in the resolution of disputes challenges. Vilna, 1920. 1920, Polish troops occupied Vilna, Lithuania's capital, with a mostly Polish population. The League ordered Poland to withdraw and planned a plebiscite, but Poland ignored it and annexed the city in 22. Britain and France supported Poland, showing the League's weakness when major powers prioritize national interests. The Treaty of Riga in 1921. In 1920, Poland invaded Russia territory. Russia gave Poland 80,000 kilometers squared, 80,000 km squared of land. The League didn't act because Russia. The League didn't act because Russia wasn't a member and its communist government was unpopular with Britain and France. So now, let's talk about the invasion of the Ruhr in 1923. We're familiar with this one. So, France and Belgium, they invaded Germany's Ruhr for coal as payment for reparations, right? And both were League members in council unanimity. It blocked any League action. The Dawes Plan resolved this crisis. Now, the Corfu incident of 1923. Italy occupied Corfu in 23 after blaming Greece for the death of Italian officials. The League ordered Italy to withdraw, but Mussolini refused and bypassed the League. Council of Ambassadors overruled the League, highlighting its weakness when major powers opposed it. The League failed when major powers prioritized their own interests. Many states began doubting the League's ability to guarantee peace and security. Now, 2.4d. Weaknesses of the League created by an unpopular peace settlement. The League was created from the unpopular Paris peace treaties. League viewed as serving the interests of the victors of World War I. Initial exclusion of defeated nations fueled perceptions of unfairness and caused disputes. Member states. The League aimed to be global, but few major powers were members in the 20s. Britain, Japan, France, Italy were full members throughout the decade. Germany joined in 1926, the USSR in 34, and the US, they just never joined. Look what I wrote at the bottom of my notebook here. What was I thinking? Genuinely pushing 20. Alright, so the USA's refusal to join the League. Republican senators, led by Henry Lodge, favored isolationism and opposed European affairs. Senate's rejection in 1919 weakened the League's credibility and financial stability. Other organizations. The League's authority undermined by other organizations like Council of Ambassadors. Council often overruled the League. Some countries bypassed the League, making separate agreements like the 1925 Locarno Treaty. The need for unanimity. The League's decisions required unanimity, giving members an effective veto. Slow decision making and made the League appear indecisive. Annual General Assembly meetings further delayed actions. So now, collective security, right? The League relied on collective security to confront the aggression through sanctions of military action. It had no army, so it relied on member states to provide troops. In 1923, a resolution let members choose whether to contribute forces weakening collective security, and then Britain and France were reluctant to act militarily due to anti-war sentiment and perceived weakness. Now, the national interests. The League actions were limited when national interests conflicted with its goals. Britain and France ignored the Poland-USSR conflict in 1921, and France ignored its war occupation in 1923. The League's strength depended on member states' willingness to support it, which was often lacking. Now, finally, I got 2 minutes left before it's over. All right, look. So, 2.4e. Role and impact of the agencies. The International Labour Organization, ILO, was led by Albert Thomas, and it improved global working conditions through hours, wages, benefits, and pensions. In 1928, the minimum wage laws were adopted by 77 countries. Social Security became common in Europe. Initiatives like banning night work and paid holidays were rejected by countries fearing economic harm. The International Commission for Refugees. It was led by Fridtjof Nansen. The commission resettled over 500,000 World War I prisoners of war who were stranded in Russia. Introduced the Nansen Passport in 1922, the first international ID card for stateless refugees. It assisted 1.5 million refugees in Turkey and helped prevent disease spread. Won the 1928 Nobel Peace Prize for its humanitarian work. Now, the Health Organization investigated and prevented epidemics, including typhus in Russia, conducted research on diseases like leprosy, and it helped introduce vaccines worldwide for tuberculosis, diphtheria, and tetanus. The Mandates Commission. It supervised former German and Turkish territories to ensure good governance. It managed the Saar region until 1935 and organized its plebiscite to return to Germany. Required regular reports from mandatory powers, but lacked inspection authority, limited progress toward preparing territories for independence. Now, financial assistance. League provided financial aid to countries in economic trouble. This arranged loans and advice for Austria and Hungary. It helped both nations begin economic recovery. Now, finally, some other achievements. The League addressed issues like slavery, forced labor, drug trafficking, and exploitation of women and children. They freed 200,000 slaves, wow, and forced Liberia's president to resign after investigation of forced labor. Many League agencies continued under the United Nations, including the ILO, UNHCR, and the WHO, the WHO, World Health Organization. Now, that's all for today, fellas.